All right, giving this another shot. Take two for those of you who already came on and got back off. Welcome to episode 2 of The Real Deal with Dan Smith. Today's topic is going to be on how to travel more and still produce. All right, so already lost connection once as we get more and more in line with doing some of this Facebook Live fun stuff. A couple things you got to pay attention to. One, are you trying to do your live stream from someplace with good cell coverage? And the answer for that in Laguna Beach is apparently no, because I'm here at Laguna Beach filming today. You also got to get used to how do you use a selfie stick, and does the sound come through good? It's a little windy, the lighting's a little weird because it's a little overcast. So all these fun things as you're doing Facebook Lives, you probably want to start paying some attention to. We're going to try to get through it as best we can today, though I've already been dropped once, so hopefully this doesn't drop again with our fantastic cell coverage out here. So today's topic, another interesting thing, as you're doing this, it's very hard. I got to bring this close to be able to read what the comments are, right? If anybody asks a question. So it's a little bit more fun than just sitting in an office, okay, and doing one of these with a TV or something behind you. But it's a little bit more of a challenge to be out and about doing it as well. And people are looking at me really oddly as I'm walking down the boardwalk as well. Let's see, sound is good, vid quality better this time around. Awesome, thank you very much. Oh, Walt says the same thing. So as it turns out, it looks like I was actually on the Starbucks Wi-Fi the first time over there. And so I got too far away from Wi-Fi, so I've turned Wi-Fi off and I am just on regular. So let's get into it. How to travel more and still produce. Who would like to travel more? If you're on, I'm gonna step off the boardwalk here real quick, take off the flip-flops and come on down to the beach. It's a lot more fun than just doing this sitting in an office, I'll tell you. And hopefully it's more interactive and fun for you guys and gals as well. So, who would like to travel more and produce, continue to produce? Who out there feels like they don't travel very much? Go ahead and chime in, please, so I know who I'm talking to and what the message should be to you. Who feels like, man, I wish I could travel more and still be able to produce? And Jason says, yes, please, and Matt says, me. All right, so I want to share with you and ask you some questions of why you don't travel more. I hear the waves crashing behind me. I don't know if that's affecting the sound. Norvell would like to travel more as well. The first trick I've learned to traveling more is to be very specific with where I want to travel and when I want to travel. Because for years and years I wanted to travel and go places and see things and do things, and I had the financial ability to do so, but I was so busy working, so busy producing, that I could never make time to actually take the trips. And I always thought, well, geez, what's going to happen to my business, and how am I going to do it, and how am I going to produce while I'm away? Oh, by the way, Laurie Strain has joined the call. Laurie, one of my great clients, and Laurie just got back from a 24 day trip to Europe, right? And she's still going to be on track to do somewhere around 60 transactions this year. So she's a great living proof that it can be done. So thank you for sharing the video, Norvell. So the first thing I learned, though, is you have to be very specific. You can't just say I want to travel more. You have to know where you're going to travel to. Okay? And you can't just say I want to travel to, let's say, Europe. Okay, for how long? And when? And when you're there, what do you want to do? Traveling is so difficult. You must, it is imperative that you actually get very crystal clear on what it is and plan something 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, even 2 years ahead of time on the calendar. My entire calendar for travel for all of 2018 is already booked. I know that I'm going to Cuba in February. I know I'm going to New York in January. I know that I'm going to Cuba in February. I know that I'm going to be going down to Mexico with the whole family in the summer. I know that next October I'm going to be going to Greenland and Iceland. and they are already all planned. Now, I haven't been able to book flights for all of them necessarily, but I've booked calendar dates that when the flights are finally available, because I booked so far ahead of time that the airlines won't sell me tickets yet, that I know when I'm going to be going. Most of you don't travel because it never actually gets written down. You never actually, you want to go there, you think about going there, but you never pick a concise date for when you're going to go. And then as time gets closer and life happens, suddenly it's too late to go and you thought you're going to go and you got to push it off. And then you repeat that process over and over and over. So my first tip would be, in order to travel more and still produce, now this isn't the travel more side, not the still produce, would be to do a better job of planning it clearly. Where, when, for how long, what you're going to do there. Get clear on that. And now, it doesn't have to be, and I don't travel like this. I travel a lot, guys and gals, and I have done this before in my life, but I don't as of late. It doesn't have to be a luxury, super expensive trip. It can just be an inexpensive getaway with you and your loved one, with you and your family, with you alone. It doesn't have to be like, oh, well, if I'm going to go, I once heard this person give this, somebody said they wanted to go to World Cup. And somebody else gave them some advice that to go to World Cup, they should do the whole thing first class. And suddenly this trip that was, geez, probably $4,000, maybe even $3,000, turned into $30,000. And that's not how you have to travel. I travel on a budget. I enjoy traveling on a budget. Traveling and staying first class is easy. You just book it, you don't have to worry about anything. You never really get to see the real culture. You never get to see any of that. I enjoy traveling on a budget and seeing everything. So it's not a cost that I think is prohibiting most of you from going. I think it is the fact that you never take time to plan going. So that's number one. How to do more is to plan it better. Now, how to still produce. Who has been on vacation? Let me ask this. I'm going to read the screen real quick. Get real close. That's not a pretty sight, is it? All right, who has been on vacation before and felt that you never got a chance to be on vacation because you had to keep answering emails, texts, phone calls, dealing with client issues, or who is afraid of going on a trip because those are the types of things that you could imagine might come up, and so you think, well, why go if that's how I'm going to spend my vacation? Let's hear you guys chime in on that. Has anybody ever felt that? Or has anybody ever actually not planned a trip, postponed a trip, because of fear of that? Now, I could actually just be quiet and wait for somebody to type in, which I might do, but it'd be great if somebody gave me an example to work with here. What I find is a lot of agents make up excuses. Well, I can't travel for a week. I can't leave for 7 days. What will my listings do? What about my buyers? I've got an escrow. I've got a listing. Jason wrote, I actually get business every time I'm ready to go on vacation, which is awesome. And that's like kind of one of the tried and true things about this industry. Whenever we're going on a trip, it seems like we do get an opportunity for business, right? And more business comes at us. You get really, really busy right before you're getting ready to leave. Has anybody experienced that? Laura just said, you taught me well. I don't worry, I just go. That's fantastic. But a lot of agents I've found are so concerned, like, well, I've got an escrow. I can't leave in the middle of an escrow. So if your plan is to only travel when you have nothing else to do, no escrows, no listings, no business, you're going to have a tough time affording to travel. Okay? You need to be able to learn to travel. All right? And have business. Optimally, you'd like to have 10 listings, 10 escrows, and still be able to travel. But to not travel because you have a deal going is the worst reason in the entire world not to travel. Okay? So how do you do it? Well, you might have to give up a little bit of sleep. You might have to give up an hour or two out of your day each day. But heck, Laurie, type this in, please. How often did you work each day when you were on your 21-day trip? Or how many days did you work? How often how many hours or minutes each day? Just an approximation to give us an idea. Because you had, I don't know, 4 or 5 listings and 5 or 6 escrows going probably while you were gone on this long trip. And but you might have to give up so answer me that, please, Laurie. You have to give up a little bit of sleep. You have to give up a little bit of free time. But to be in Europe, to be in South America, to be climbing Machu Picchu, right, on a Wednesday, and have to get up at 4:30 in the morning instead of 7:30 in the morning, and do some work between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. Wouldn't you guys and gals agree that that's a pretty good trade in order to be in South America and climbing Machu Picchu? Wouldn't that be a pretty good trade to be in China and walking on the Great Wall later that day? See, technology, most of you believe that technology is your leash. You can't go anywhere, do anything, because people are always calling, texting, emailing, and you've got this leash around you. You don't understand technology, these magic phones that we have today. They're not your leash. They are your key to freedom, because you can work effectively in South America climbing Machu Picchu and still communicate with clients and get business done. Laurie wrote, some days 5 minutes, other days 30 minutes. Having a capable person at home in place helped a lot. All right, so she had somebody who was capable to be able to help her and cover her while she was away. Some days 5 minutes, some days 30 minutes, depending on what the issue of the day was. Matt Kasner, double-edged sword, feels like freedom and leash at the same time. Yeah, having this technology, it is, right? Like, oh man, people can always get a hold of me. I never can get away. I can never be free. But at the same point, it's that freedom which allows you to be anywhere. Man, for God's sakes, guys and gals, check this out. I am in Laguna Beach talking to all of you, having a conversation. And when I'm done here, I'm going to go out. I'm going to play in the waves with the kiddies. Right? What shirt do I have on today? Wizard Island. I have this really cool collection of national park shirts. I've got about 25 t-shirts now that every time I go to a national park in the United States, I collect a shirt from there. And those are pretty much what I wear is this about 95% of the year. Flip-flops, board shorts, and a national park t-shirt. And I don't have to repeat that often, maybe once a month, because I have so many of them now. I can be at any of these places, Laguna at a national park, provided I had cell coverage, and be talking to you right now. That's not a leash. That is the biggest key to freedom of all time, everybody. What it is, it's right here. It's in your head. Is it a leash or is it a key to freedom? I'm going to back this stick up just a little bit for a second. Only if I can figure out how to back it up. No, apparently this is as long as it goes. Feels like it should go longer, but it's not cooperating. It's a key to freedom, and you've got to change your mindset. Laurie said there were days that all I had to do was find service just to check the email to learn that nothing was going on. You are not that important, everybody. I know you think you are. I know you think like if you leave, the deal will fall apart. You're the only person who can save it. Everything needs to run through you. I have news for you. Not so. It might actually even run better if we can get you out of the way sometimes. Okay? So welcome, Lucas. Welcome everybody who's coming on here. So one, in order to travel more, you have to plan it better and plan it more. And then to still produce, well, one, you can still be productive while you're traveling. Two, you have to plan appropriately when you go. All right, when you go, let me ask this question, and let's have everybody chime in here with their answers, please. Who in the last 2 years has been on a vacation of 5 days or more, and you kind of threw in the towel on working 3 or 4 or even more days before you went on that 5-day vacation, getting ready for it, planning, exciting, didn't want to start anything new because you're about to go on the trip? Who here, who's watching, please type in now, has in the last year or two gone on a trip of 4 or 5 days, maybe longer, a week, but you've taken 3, 4 days off before going on the trip because you're kind of preparing and that's where your mind was? Who has done that? Now, no one's typing, and I know you're lying because I know some of the people who are watching this right now. All right, so it'd be great if you guys actually participated for people watching after, plus you can help me with my point here. Second question, and while you guys are all typing that one, Who here has gone on a vacation of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more days? Okay? And when you get back, that's not proper English, when you have gotten back, it's better, you didn't go to work, you got back on a Saturday, took Sunday to unpack, and on Monday you're supposed to be back at it. Who has actually come back from their trip and then not really gone back to work and taken you another 3, 4, 5 days, even longer sometimes, to get back into the fold, to get back into the mix? Who's ever done that as well? So here's the problem, everybody. Your 5-day trip, your week-long trip, 7 days, becomes a 2.5-week trip sometimes, right? You take 4 or 5 days and the weekend before the trip getting ready, and you take 4 or 5 days and the weekend after the trip gets back before you can really get back into the flow of things again. And pretty soon you were gone for 5 or 6 or 7 days. It's literally a 2 to 3 week vacation you took. Yes, only 1 week was on site at the actual location, but man, you could have just stayed there. You should have just stayed there. If you're gonna like leave mentally and emotionally and not do anything before you went there, why didn't you just go earlier? And if you're gonna come back and not work, if you're gonna come back and do a whole lot of nothing and be off task and not be focused, then why didn't you just stay there until you were actually ready to come back and work, right? And that's what kills us, is we take this week-long vacation and it turns into 2 or 3 weeks sometimes, and that is a lot of production loss when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Norvell says, I have. Lucas says, I've done that too. And Laurie says, traveling back from Europe and getting back was super hard, right? But man, if you're gonna take a week-long vacation, make it a week. Don't make it a week before and a week after and turn it into a 3-week ordeal and then lose all that production. You can travel a lot more and still be very productive. Probably more productive than you would be if you didn't travel, because like Jason and a couple of you said earlier, when you're getting ready to go on a trip, you get so much stuff done and you get so much business coming right when you're getting ready to leave, because you're working so diligently and efficiently, right, in the weeks getting ready for it. But then you throw in the towel a couple days before you're ready to go, and you don't pick up work when you get back. You could travel more often if you just actually were on traveling when you're on your trip, when you weren't traveling before and after. You could take 3 one-week vacations instead of one-week vacation with a week around it. Be gone from really working diligently the same amount of time if you could figure out how to work up until the moment you left, and if you could figure out how to get really truly back to work the moment you got back. Think about that. You could literally triple your travel time if you did it that way. So, little tip for you. What time is it here? Okay, we're doing good on time. Little tip for how to travel more, how to produce more, is don't extend these trips on either side. Take the exact same amount of time that you were wasting. At least it's not a loud truck that's behind me right now. Take that exact same amount of time that you were wasting and instead apply it to another trip and work to the moment you have to leave and work until the moment you get, from the moment you get back, get on it. Stop wasting all that time. You'll get more travel, you'll be more productive, right? You'll have a better mindset, and you'll live life a little bit more. Make all this money and work all these hours to sit in a house or sit in an office or to sit on a phone or go knock in neighborhoods or to do social media or to be out on your farm or all these other things that you could be doing. Worry about living life a little bit more. Set the plans ahead of time. Be specific with where you want to go, when you're going to go, how you're going to go, what you're going to do when you go there, right? Get it really detailed, laid out. Then follow that plan. Work until you leave. Work as soon as you get back. I guarantee you, you will travel more and you will actually produce, not just how to travel more and produce more, because you're constantly working diligently. All right, any other questions before we wrap this thing up? Any other questions out there? Next week, by the way, tune in again, same time, noon, on Wednesday, and we're gonna be talking about to-do lists to be better leaders. What's your to-do list to be a better leader? And Isaac, I saw that you just joined. It'd be kind of interesting to maybe have you on next week. I'm not sure what your schedule looks like, right? But Isaac is a leader of men. Isaac is a, Isaac, what are you? Staff Sergeant? Master Sergeant? Gunnery Sergeant. Got it. Took me a second. Isaac is a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. He is literally, by definition, and he's watching right now, a leader of men. And it'd be interesting to have your viewpoint in a non-business setting for what tips, what your to-do list is, how you do that, how you exhibit leadership traits. That'd be interesting. But from a business standpoint, we're also going to be talking about it for those of you who have assistants, for those of you who are trying to grow teams, for those of you who are in leadership positions at your brokerages or at your companies. Let's have a conversation about to-do lists to be better leaders. That's going to be next week's topic. So please let everybody you know about this one, first of all, that we did today. Let them know about next week so they can tune in and watch live and hopefully participate. You guys did an okay job of participating today. I've seen better, right? But some good comments, all right? Okay job of participating. Don't be shy, everybody. It's the new world out there. You only learn if you get involved. You only learn if you participate. You don't learn anything by just listening. Chime in, get active, get involved. Any questions before we wrap today up about traveling, about producing, about how to have a little bit more of that in your life from a balanced standpoint? This is a for speak now or forever hold your peace moment. Anybody? Well, if you type in while I'm giving the panoramic shot, then I'll answer it. But if not, thank you everybody for tuning in with me here in Laguna Beach, California today. It's a little bit of an overcast day, as you can see. Welcome to Southern California. It's not always sunny, it's still warm. A little bit overcast today, however. We got some guys out here playing volleyball. We got some people playing in the waves. We've got some fantastic restaurants and things to do. I'm gonna go hit the waves with my kids in just a little bit. They're out there somewhere. Wait, out there somewhere in the water. So I'm gonna go enjoy some time with them. And you guys and gals have a great day. Thank you for participating. Please share this with everybody. Be on next week. And if you want to comment or say anything, feel free to still put it on here when this is all said and done. You can do that. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Walt. Thank you, Laurie. I'm going to go out there and have a great time. Tennyson's a fish. He's been swimming out there for like 4 hours already. So here I go. Signing off, everybody. See you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks a lot.